All right, so last night, the first part of our interview with Bill Maher, he said he had no doubt that former President Trump will run again in 2024. Maybe, maybe not. But then I asked him this. Do you think that there's anyone he could run with that would make him more palatable to you or anybody else who doesn't like him?
No, because it's all, it wouldn't even matter. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even give it a second thought. They just handed him a list of names on a piece of paper, and he picked the one he recognized. It could be Gary Busey. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It's all about him. It always will be about him. It has to be somebody subservient. And who is that subservient? If it is somebody that we know, I'd actually be surprised. I bet you it's some sort of very dark horse. You know, somebody that Trump, you know, this guy was in business with him. He's a fantastic businessman. You know, it'd just be something out of left field like that. Nobody will care.
What if it were Senator Tim Scott?
Oh, yes, I've heard that mentioned many times. I mean, look, I think Tim Scott, look, Trump is not young either. And he makes zero concessions to age. At least Biden tries. He's married to a doctor. I think he tries to watch his weight. And, I mean, Trump, you know, I mean, how he's still going, I have no idea, but that's just his genes. He's a city roach. Nothing will ever kill him. But, you know, Tim Scott, I think, would be, look, any Republican would be a vast improvement, in my view, over Donald Trump. Tim Scott, he's a very conservative guy, but, you know, conservative is not a bad word. You know, I mean, we have to get over this hatred of the other side because their politics are different. You know, there's this thing I call the good as it gets Republican. You know, Bill Maher, Mitch McConnell, Liz Cheney, Mike Pence. At the end of the day, they all did the right thing on the one key issue, which is, did Trump win that election? And they all said, no, he didn't. Okay, I don't agree with their politics on much else, but that's as good as it gets Republican. You're not going to get them to agree with you on most things. If you went down a list of the things Liz Cheney believes, most liberals would be booing her out of the room. But she gets cheers now because on that one issue, which is the most fundamental issue right now, she did the right thing. So let's build a new Republican Party based on that.
Do you believe that there will be any kind of wave in the upcoming midterms?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question for Nostradamus. I mean, you could make a case for either side because abortion is going to bring, I mean, the Supreme Court, obviously, the recent ruling on that, that is going to bring out a lot of people. I mean, that one is one that hits close to home. Politicians are always looking for issues that gets right into the home. Guns do it. For the right, I've said for years, if only Democrats would fully legalize marijuana, you could get a lot of people out of the House to vote on that. It's something that's in your home. You touch it, you feel it, it's personal. This one is really personal.
I think the problem that Republicans could have is what we used to refer to as the dog that caught the car. And this was always something that was great to talk about as a moral position, but it's now a rights issue. I don't think it's as simple as abortion. It's reproductive rights for women who were either on the fence or hadn't really considered it because of Roe. But now you've had a standard where half of your political leadership says, yeah, women should be able to be told what they can do with their body. And the question is, will that resonate through the ranks on Election Day?
Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing people talk about on talk shows. In people's homes, it's very different. One half the country, or not half, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's fairly even, thinks it's murder. And that's it. So it doesn't help to say you hate women to these people. I'm pro-choice, but I'm not down with that. They don't hate women. That's not their thing. They think it's murder. You're never going to have a, you know, this is why this is a silly conversation to have at a dinner table with someone. You're never going to talk somebody either way out of it or into it.
Here's something that you may not want to talk about, but it's too bad we're going to. Looking at just a sheer metric of ratings, okay, you crush John Oliver regularly. Trevor Noah, you crush his numbers. You do not get nominated the way they do for Emmys. You have, and you've won. We did the math. You've won, you know, been nominated dozens of times, but not in recent years. and your audience is much bigger, and I would argue your cultural cachet is much more vast, why do you think you don't get the shine that they do?
I tell the truth. I don't perform for just one half of the country and say the things that will make them applaud. And there's nothing wrong with that, and there's very talented people you're talking about and do fine shows. But I just, this has always been my bond with the audience, which is much more important to me than an award, is that I will call it as I see it. And what's different, I mean, I have been nominated, I think, 40 times.
Yes.
Never won, which is for the same reason. In recent years, yes, not even a nomination because, of course, the nominating body out here is very woke, and wokeness become a big thing. And woke, I say, meaning woke with an eye roll kind of woke. I mean, there is a kind of woke that's valid. When it started, it became ridiculous. So many things about the left now contain some level of ridiculousness. And I not only call that out, I love calling it out. First of all, it's the thing that the liberals should be doing more than anything else, is criticizing their own side for what's losing them elections. But besides that, I'm a comedian. I go where it's funny. And, you know, years ago they used to say, you know, why aren't there any, you know, funny right-wing comedians? And I would tell them, because the left doesn't do anything as ridiculous as the right. It was easy to make fun of Sarah Palin, and still is, and I still do, by the way. Most of what I make fun of is still on the right. But, you know, now we have equivalents of insanity like that.
Last question, and I appreciate you for doing this. What gives you the most hope that things in America get better?
Well, that's a... Now you stumped me, Chris, with the hope question. I don't know. You know, you mentioned immigration. I mean, I have done a number of commentaries here on the fact that the one you just mentioned about the people who don't like America on left and the right. But I said at the end, but you know who does love this country? Immigrants. Because they have perspective, you know, that most Americans just don't have. They came from someplace that's so much worse, and they get here and they're like, what are you people bitching about? This is the greatest country in the world. Now, whether it's the greatest country in the world, I don't know. I haven't lived all over the world. I'm not asking for the check. I'm going to go down with it if it's going to go down. I'm going to keep trying to make it better. But that is a hopeful thing, is that we are a nation that keeps renewing itself with people who believe in it. And, yeah, more of that. Hey, listen, congratulations on your new gig. You deserve it, and you're going to be great.
Listen, I appreciate it. I appreciate the advice. I appreciate the friendship, and I appreciate you being on the show. Bill Maher, continued success with what you're doing. Keep trusting in the people, because they put you on top.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it.